Good day to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska and you are watching Poland Daily Culture. And even though we are right now in Warsaw, it feels a little bit like we transport ourselves to Belarusian because we'll talk about Belarus. And here with us is Michał Awerczuk, one of the filmmakers, documentary filmmakers, and in this case, a co-author of a book called in Polish Partyzanci, so guerrillas, people who are rebels, who are against who are fighting with the regime. Tell me, please, one of the chapters is your chapter and devoted to your character. Who is he, and how did you meet him?
I've never met him. That's the first thing, because I've learned about him when they locked him up. And it was in June, a year ago, 24th, I remember. I don't recall it right now, but it was 24th of June, I suppose. And that's a really young guy, like a few years younger than me. I'm not that young anymore, I suppose. 29, 28. Father of a small daughter, and good husband, and a journalist. He was responsible for many journalistic work. I don't want to name it because it's probably not going to help him. But he was involved in many journalistic work. But I want to stress it out. It was journalistic work, not anything else. And then he's gonna be charged, or he's charged already, with distortion, riots, with like all of the criminal code they probably could name it. He's been locked in a jail, in a dungeon, without no food, sometimes without no food, of course. But I wrote in my chapter that he's getting his food through the toilet, like this toilet hole in the ground, which is like completely disgusting. That's how they torture him. He's deprived of, light, of information. He's deprived of information about his family. He's been, and that's not happening in authoritarian governments either.
The situation, we don't even realize that journalists are locked up and they can lose their freedom and they can be separated from their families and from everyday life, and they don't know what's happening to them.
Yeah, that's why I wrote in this story, because I was talking with many friends of Ihar, because my hero is Ihar Łosik, Ihar Łosik.
Ihar Łosik, so Ihar Łosik,
yeah.
a journalist and a father.
Journalist, that's extremely important, because he created Telegram and the Twitter account of Belarus Govnowa Mozga, which is like the cancer of the brain of the Belarus, which is like a funny kind of saying our system is sick, right? About like Belarusian system, because it's like that's a phrase. And he was just putting information there, nothing extremely or not even mildly, in my opinion, controversial. If it comes, for example, in Poland, like he would be like one of the journalists, right?
Interesting is that they, because of the situation, we a little bit touched this topic, because of the situation, whatever they do, it becomes so important. It gets such a huge rank, and they become, enemies of the government.
I mean, have you heard about Roman Protasevich before the Gaddafi incident with kidnapping a plane?
No.
Who was Roman Protasevich? Who's Ihar Łosik? I mean, most of those people are extremely good journalists. Like they're like really famous. Like they're like got some like political influences or whatever. But that's not all of them.
Yeah, of course.
Like he's creating his own heroes. I mean, he's creating. Lukashenko's creating his own enemies and then he's torturing them, and he's creating heroes from them, right?
True. Yeah, absolutely agree. That's the process. This may be the process of the war. So he takes the people who would be ordinary photographers or ordinary journalists.
I mean, but I don't want to depreciate what they're doing, because it's like extremely difficult and extremely dangerous work.
Of course, I fully agree.
Because it's maybe not a war zone, but it's a war against the system kind of a zone. I don't know how to call it.
That's why it's a civil war in a way, in a modern way.
It's not a civil war. No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I wouldn't say, in my opinion, that's not a civil war. It's like yelling for freedom. That's not a civil war. I don't want to. I want to stress it out because, like, if you say it's a civil war, Lukashenko's gonna use it against the people. They started a civil war. It's not a civil war, in my opinion. They just want to be free. That's the case here.
Okay, they're fighting against the system, and they're paying
against the oppression. It's not against the system because they don't. Probably they can stand up the system. It's against the oppression. It's about not being able to put your kids in a school. It's about like free travel or like freedom of speech or whatever you want to call like freedom of expression or like who you want to laugh or who you want to be with or where you want to go or how can you want to work or how you want to dress. And that's what one of my heroes, I want to say that because she's a lady, she said that, like, what's freedom for her?
Yeah.
Everything that I just mentioned. Like being able to live normally. And they not allowed to do it. If they be allowed to do it, they wouldn't be protesting.
Of course, I fully agree. And just fulfilling their job as well, trying to be objective even when it comes to this, and they definitely don't have this right to do it. But there is a wife waiting for your
I've mentioned her, Dasha. Yeah.
So Dasha is still waiting there for him to be released. Is there any chance for him to be released?
In my opinion, if secret services of KGB or even Lukashenko realize that he's locking up like completely innocent men, yeah, but they're not gonna admit that they made a mistake.
I see.
Because he's just a journalist, good one, and he's a good one, but he's just a journalist. He was just putting information there, right? And that's why I've chosen them, because it's not a story about the one particular journalist. It's a story about like love story of two people. Like he's behind the bars, she's waiting for him outside, fighting for him, like filling up the papers and just waiting for him to get back to home, like raising a daughter by herself and just looking at what's gonna be happening with her husband, who's at one point he even slit his wrists because they accused him of something that was so idiotic, or I don't know how to say it. Like that's he wouldn't agree with it. He wouldn't sign the papers, and he just tried to commit suicide.
It sounds horrible, and of course, to all of you, first of all, we hope you understand the situation of Belarusian journalists and people locked up in the jail, and we send a lot of love and support to Dasha, who's waiting there outside for her husband, and to you, the viewers of Poland Daily, we recommend you to read the book and realize their story and their situation. Thank you very much for being with us.